Greetings and welcome to episode 200 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I am your host, Amy Alexander, and I'm joined this week by the one and only second place finisher, Mr. Moody.
Second place finisher.
Perpetual
indeed.
second place finisher.
Six times.
Six
Second
place.
place.
One
It's like
stream.
a slap in the face.
It's like
every
being
time.
slapped in the face 6 times.
Yeah. Congratulations on episode 200, Amy.
Thanks. I started this podcast a long time ago, and I don't know if I told this story on the podcast recently. We started it with where we using Steam voice chat. And I had a Turtle Beach headset, and I hadn't figured out the fundamentals of do not breathe directly into the microphone headset. And yeah, the first episode was a train wreck. And the second episode was also a train wreck. And then by about episode 10, I feel like we turned a corner.
And then you finally got your groove down.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I think I figured this podcasting thing out. And I was like, I don't see this lasting for very long. I mean, I'm half right. Like, nobody I started the podcast is here with me, but you're here with me, Moody.
Yeah.
Upgraded.
Yeah. Well, I'm almost at 250, so
Yeah.
I'm mine.
See, mine's weird because I started mine for like a long time. This podcast was fortnightly, so we only used to do episodes every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't remember when we started doing them weekly, but it was like when we made that change, I was like, okay, this is what's going to make the podcast fail because we're going to be trying to do it and nobody's going to be able to do it. And like multiple moments in the past 200 episodes where I've been like, this might be the thing that kills it. Nothing's killed it yet. We're still here 200 episodes later. I'd love to be like, I've done 200 of these, but I've actually done about 195 because there have been weeks I've missed. And other people have graciously filled in for me, but I don't know, I don't really feel like celebrating. Like, when I saw the number on the spreadsheet of being like, it's going to be episode 200 in April, that's awesome, and then it was like, woohoo, we should do stuff, and then it's like, lockdown, quarantine, coronavirus. Yeah, let's just do the fucking thing. Fucking Christ.
Let's hope there's some good news to talk about.
There is. I put it at the front. I front-loaded it. There are bigger stories than the first story that we talk about. Arguably, that we probably should talk about first, but I was like, nah. I'm starting with something good, not something negative. Positivity over negativity, because you only get back out of the world what you put into the world. That's my stance on life.
And right now, not a single one of us can get put into the world.
No. We're getting nothing. Go figure.
The world's like on a summer holiday right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it feels like to breathe.
Yesterday was officially the longest time I've had off of my day job in 7 years.
Damn.
It's like, shit. Now it's starting to sink in. Yeah. Now I'm starting to feel it. Like, yeah. This is the thing.
I can understand for people who working in it, who are workers and everything. Like for myself, I've been employed for the last 2 years and everything because I obviously left my job to go and study. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in the process where I'm overall adapting to it a lot more easier than my partner is and everything like that, and my parents are. But yeah, well, my dad's still at work, but my mum still goes to work right now as well. They're up to essential.
Yeah.
But they're overall doing fine.
That's good. I'm glad. And I hope everyone out there who's tuned in to listen to us talk is doing fine, because this is the Words About Gamescast. Every single Monday, we sit down and we discuss what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days. I want to say it's a nice escape from what's going on outside, but it's a news podcast, so we talk a lot about what's been going on outside, unfortunately. This week, however, we discuss Nintendo's plans for celebrating Mario's 35th anniversary, delays for The Last of Us Part 2 and Iron Man VR, IGN's Summer of Gaming, the ESA confirming dates for E3 2021, and more. As always, there are timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube. So if you want to watch only specific parts of the podcast, you want to watch it out of order, watch the whole thing backwards, we don't mind. It's fine. We're just happy you're here. Happy you're spending a little bit of your lockdown time listening to us talk and talk and talk some more.
With a little bit of mumbling.
It's a little bit of mumbling.
Talking.
Every now and again, audio issues.
On one of our screens to stalls
just
and we're
freezes
just
on it, but like
what's wrong with his face? Is he having are they having a stroke on live TV?
Oh my god. Mode! Oh no.
Should we call? Well, this episode was recorded the day before, so we don't know if they turn up the next week. We know they're alive.
Yeah, it's just all of a sudden just a standby screen like beep. Technical difficulties. Episode ends. Why did she upload this? I put something up. Let's dive right into the news, Mooney. We've got actually quite a bit to talk about. Like, the news isn't slowing down, even though the world is slowing down. The first thing we're going to talk about is a rumour. And the rumour is Super Mario back catalogue and several other Mario titles coming to Switch in 2020. This is from Sal Romano over at Gamasutra, who writes... Lost my mouse cursor. There it is. Nintendo will celebrate the 35th anniversary of Super Mario in 2020 by re-releasing most of the series' back catalogue and several other Mario titles for Switch, according to VGC and Eurogamer reports. According to the Eurogamer report, the back catalogue includes a deluxe version of Super Mario 3D World, which will add an array of new levels, plus remasters of Super Mario Galaxy and a couple of other 3D Mario favourites. Both reports claim a new entry in the Paper Mario series is also in the works. According to the VGC report, a Super Mario 35th anniversary event was originally planned to take place at E3 2020 in June, which is now cancelled, but Nintendo is now reviewing its plans in light of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The event would have also revealed new details regarding Nintendo's partnership with Universal, including the Super Nintendo World theme park attractions and animated Super Mario movie. Gematsu has heard similar reports, specifically in regards to Super Mario 3D World Deluxe, a new Paper Mario title, and HD remasters of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. When contacted by VGC, Nintendo said it does not comment on rumour and speculation. And then there are two updates to this story, because this story broke like Monday. I'm pretty sure this story broke before the freaking last episode of the podcast went live, which, thanks. Update 1. VentureBeat has gone up with its own report. It said, quote, Nintendo is pursuing something like Super Mario All-Stars 2 for the 3D Mario games. This would include Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and then Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's likely that 3D World may get its own separate deluxe-style release. While it's possible the older 3D Mario games could come in a single compilation, it's also likely that Nintendo will release them individually as it did with its Zelda remasters. And then there's a second update, which reads, a new VGC report echoes our own and VentureBeat's reports. It said, VGC can now confirm that among the Mario titles set to appear on Switch on 1997's Super Mario 64, 2002's Super Mario Sunshine, and 2007's Super Mario Galaxy. One person with knowledge of Nintendo's plans said that the re-releases were being treated as a special anniversary collection of games rather than standard digital ports. It continued, Nintendo will also release several other Mario titles in 2020. That includes a deluxe version of 2013's Wii U game Super Mario 3D World, which will be bolstered with new content and levels. Many 2D Mario games are already available on Nintendo Switch via the console's Switch Online NES and SNES apps, and Nintendo plans to add to this library in the near future, VGC was told. Sounds like I'm going to have a lot of fodder for retrospective reviews sometime in 2020.
It's a hell. If this is true, this is a hell of a lot of Mario.
There's
no
a
doubt
lot of
about it.
Mario coming.
And it makes me think, going back to the beginning part of that with the E3 thing, and that's cancelled now. Right now is, and then we're going to talk about the why am I thinking Naruto? A Mario film. So that
Yeah.
makes me think we might have got a trailer as well. Then that would have been very intriguing.
Potentially.
Like
when you break it down, it's like everything in this report is, you got Super Mario animated movie and the Super Nintendo World theme park, but then you've got games, and all of the games that I mentioned: Super Mario 3D World Deluxe, Paper Mario, which seems to be glossed over a bit, brand new Paper Mario game, and then there's also Mario Galaxy 2, Sunshine, and 64. That's a lot of fucking Mario games.
And some of them are the most critically acclaimed games ever. Like the Galaxies and 64 are so critically acclaimed and loved, it's unbelievable. To see it then get a fresh coat of paint and probably maybe run a little bit better as well. Whoa,
I hope so.
That is some sexiness all right there. There's no doubt about it. There's like you were mentioned. I don't know what you mentioned on the podcast, but I know we've mentioned privately while we played Apex. Not winning first at all. Always second for us. Is that you felt like the last Nintendo Direct that
the
they
last
threw out was
Naruto
kind of like the last Nintendo Direct they threw out was kind of like it was just a keepsake, just to say here's what we have right now, yada yada. See you in June, basically.
Yeah, that was last week when we were talking about the Direct.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And now this is basically what they were going to do. This is the reason why they've been silent. If this is all true, yes, right now we should all take this as a pinch of salt right now until Nintendo come out and say, boom, yes, we already knew, but boom, and everything like that.
Boom, Mario.
And this would arguably could, depending if E3 was happening this year properly, this could have stole E3 more than Xbox, really.
Probably,
depending on what Xbox could have brought. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. You go on. I'll hold on to that thought.
No, it's just this. If this is true, this is full on sexiness. It really is. And yes, I know a lot of people. I think I've seen a couple of negatives like saying, "Oh, they're just remasters or HD remasters or something like that," or just ports and everything like that. Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand that to a certain point of view, but none of these games have been on the Wii U, and they're coming to the Switch, which is their superior console that they have right now, which is selling gangbusters more than the bloody Xbox One. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that, and that's been out a lot longer than the Switch. And this is adding just fantastic. If
I think it's great news.
Nintendo fan, everybody loves this.
Like, Nintendo would have cleaned up at E3. With the PlayStation, did their own thing just beforehand to, show off games that were coming to PS5. Even if they did, Nintendo... Because what you think? We'll do the E3... imagine... Because they're still going to do something. Because they've got to tell people all this is happening. I think they've even mentioned doing something, potentially in June anyway. And obviously we'll get to June later on in the podcast. But when you think they have all this Mario news to share... But then you think, well, everything else they've got. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2 is still a thing. Bayonetta 3 is still a thing. Metroid Prime 4 is still a thing. Other games that they're working on, because there are other studios that are doing stuff as well. So you can throw in other games that they could potentially be announcing as well. It's like, Jesus Christ, this Direct in June, could be a fucking mind-blowing how good
I don't think
this
they would have
Direct
shown
is.
anything except Mario.
It
depends.
Would have
just come out and said this is a Mario Direct, nothing else, nothing more. For me personally, I could be completely wrong in everything. So,
if it wasn't going to have been E3, or if it isn't wasn't an E3 big event, I would say yeah, sure, just do Mario. But this isn't, because if they package everything up into one package, like the 3D games, that's one game. And then if they do a deluxe version of Super Mario 3D World, which is a fantastic game that no one played because it was on Wii U, that's the second game. And then if they were announcing a new Paper Mario, that's the third game. But that's only 3 games. So I don't think they could have like powered the rest of 2020 with just those 3 Mario games. Like, there's got to be other stuff that's coming out, and now we know things that like we previously knew about, like Xenoblade Chronicles Remastered and everything else that came out in the March Direct. So that's coming before June, because everything that was in that Direct is coming out before June. Like, so that was like the tee up, and then this is like the home run. And I feel like even just looking at these collection of Mario games, like, sweet lord.
There's only one negative for me.
Go on.
I wish this wasn't revealed.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I always feel like that.
Just imagine it if this just came out. Nintendo E3 was all happening still, and Nintendo came out, did their direct, didn't even tell us anything about it.
Even if it wasn't,
I think we would have all died.
I might have died. Even if, like, even in the current thing of E3 not happening,
yeah,
and them just because they would just go on the thing, and it would either be, oh, we're part of this summer of gaming, or we're part of this special thing, or even if they just came out on the Tuesday and went, we've got a 45-minute Nintendo Direct presentation coming on Thursday, but they didn't say what it was about, and we didn't know, and then we just tuned in, and it was like, you like Mario? Here's all the Marios. Holy fuck. And then
it could have been literally the Justice League theme tune from the animated show, and it was all just Mario's yeah. All the great games walking out, and you just like, what?
Yeah, because that would be followed, because then there would have been like the smaller announcements, like at the beginning, and there would have been a Smash character reveal, and then there would have been like, here's the main meat of the presentation, blam, here's all your Super Mario stuff, and then they end the thing with like, oh, and because Nintendo are always about one more thing, and then they're like, oh, here's a new trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, or here's a trailer for Metroid Prime 4, or here's another Smash character reveal, which is like, if you were on the precipice of cardiac arrest. And then they go, here's the last thing, and then he's dead. I'm dead. Like the live.
No, you would die if they showed Breath of the Wild and they literally say
2020.
December
2020.
Amy might have literally just seen her go in the Carrier Rex live on stream.
Live on stream, because if it's an E3 or like Summer of Gaming thing, I'll be watching it, and it'll just be like everybody will be watching it, and I'll just be like,
it's like, ding. I'm literally messaging Keith. Text. Can you get in the touch of her parents, because they need to come and give her CPR right now.
Someone needs to resuscitate Amy. She's dead.
Happiness. But...
Of happiness, yeah. Like, Nintendo killed, but Nintendo did kill me.
She might be annoyed if she comes back.
It's all downhill from here. I do think, like, I already think that COVID-19 might have paid my Breath of the Wild 2 is coming in 2020 prediction. Yeah. This doesn't bode well for my Breath of the Wild 2 is coming in 2020 prediction. Unless they come out with this 1-2 punch. Like, if they were looking to be aggressive as fuck when PS5 and Xbox Series X came out, this is the way to do it.
Yeah. The 6 months of Mario.
The year of Mario, because they did a year of Luigi once, I remember. I can't remember when it was. It didn't start in January, it started whenever a game came out, which was like midway through the year. So this is probably the year of Mario. Like, because the other thing to remember is, like, when I need to double check something. Because I remember I am as old as Mario. Did you know that?
No, okay.
Because Mario came out, Super Mario Brothers originally came out on the 13th of September 1985. So the 35th anniversary starts this September. Like, that's when it begins. So that's probably when all of this will begin. Like, they're talking about it in the summer to give themselves a lead up.
October, November, December.
Like, they could literally just put game after game out every month. Yeah. Like, okay, so in September, you're going to get... It's the 35th anniversary. We want to celebrate that by taking you through some of the greatest Mario adventures ever. So here's the Mario collection with Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, and maybe Galaxy 2. Then...
Yeah, I'm amazed not one of them mentioned Galaxy 2, and that's just...
One of them did. The middle one did. I think it was Venture Beat. Yeah. Then in September. Then in October, you're gonna get a brand new Paper Mario game. Then in November, like, we're bringing across this classic Super Mario 3D World game from the Wii U and porting it across so everybody who owns a Switch can enjoy it. And then in
I think it's
December,
reversed.
and then in December we're
I
launching
think they're
Breath of
going
the
to drop
Wild.
their big three in November to fight the consoles. Why get two new consoles or one of the new consoles when you've already got a Switch and you can? Oh, he is three of our most critically acclaimed Mario games. Boom, all on one little cartridge. Boom.
This was my argument for. This was my argument for Breath of the Wild 2 coming out this year, where it was just like, if they could just come out and just be like, new consoles, why don't you just get this sequel to one of the greatest games of all time? Switch games of all time. Yeah, that works. $60 versus $500. $500 to play Godfall versus $60 to play Breath of the Wild 2. Nothing against Godfall, it looks fine, but it's not Breath of the Wild 2.
Oh, heck, even better, just $350. If you didn't have a Switch, you know what I mean?
If you don't have a Switch, here's a special.
Save yourself $150 and get our little console with these critically acclaimed games.
And a special edition like Breath of the Wild console, and there will be a special edition 35th anniversary Mario console.
Of course there will be.
And I will probably try and buy those Joy-Cons. Because I am a whore for buying new Joy-Cons. I'm currently rocking the purple and orange, but I have been eyeing up the Animal Crossing colours.
The Animal Crossing special edition Switch did look sexy.
I only just got those Joy-Cons a couple of months ago, and I'm already like, I want those Animal Crossing ones. I want them. My usual strategy of selling on the ones I've got to pay for the new ones doesn't really work in COVID-19 so easily, though. So, yeah. Speaking of downers, let's move on to the next news story. I almost fell out of my chair when I read this, but then I was like, I wasn't that surprised. It was just, when you're surprised by something that you're not surprised happened. Yeah, that was where I was at. It was a very weird moment. The second news story is The Last of Us 2 delayed indefinitely due to global crisis. This is from that makes it sound like a DC Comics event. This is from Steve Watts over at GameSpot, who writes, Sony has announced it is delaying the launch of The Last of Us 2 indefinitely, saying in a tweet that the global crisis caused by the coronavirus is preventing us from providing the launch experience our players deserve, end quote. Developer Naughty Dog issued its own statement on Twitter as well. In it, the studio said that while it's in the final stretches of development, there are logistical issues that will prevent it from ensuring the best experience, including a simultaneous global launch. Quote, we were bummed about this decision, but ultimately understood it's what's best and fair for all our players. We're hoping that this won't be a long delay, and we'll update you as soon as we have new information to share. End quote. This follows another release date delay that had pushed the game's release until May 2020, not long after it had been announced for February. Prior to that, it was due out last year. The latest delay has no release date attached, but unlike others, it's not due to extra development time. Sony has previously said that the coronavirus pandemic shouldn't impact the release of the PlayStation 5, why would they say anything different, which is also due this year. Presently, The Last of Us 2 is only slated for release on PS4. The announcement from Sony also noted that Marvel's Iron Man VR is similarly delayed until further notice. I get it, and I'm totally like, yeah, you got to do what you got to do, right? But I'm like, I'm fucking good. I'm devastated that this game has been delayed.
Yeah, it's not surprising, and why they've done it, it's all understandable. We all know why they've done it. It's like the same thing with what kind of Final Fantasy VII, because Square Enix have come out and said they're not sure if they can get as many physical copies out there and everything like that because of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Sony and Naughty Dog have literally decided, okay, we're just going to delay it.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, for me, is the indefinitely part.
Yes, it's a very interesting word.
Yeah, that makes me go think we all know they're very still unsure about the PlayStation 5 if it's going to launch this year. Whenever we get a true date and they come out definitely saying this is coming out this date, now I still think because of what's happening, I think they're going to push it to 2021, probably somewhere between the first 3 months or 4 months before the financial year probably to come out.
Yeah.
And that says to me, Last of Us will be a launch title for that. That's what's saying to me why they've put the word indefinitely. That's what's saying to me. Now, then the question now comes to Ghost of Tsushima. That's obviously a month later, June, I believe, or was it July when that was coming?
June 26th. So it was pretty much a month after.
Yeah, because the Last of Us was like the end of month, May
20 something. Yeah.
Now the question comes: Will that one get pushed as well?
I think we'll find out in a month.
Yeah, in the quotations right of indefinitely, which then will tell me probably it is a launch title, but probably not for the right time for me because I want this to come out this year with the launch title for PlayStation 5.
Don't know why I would.
But I think PlayStation 5 is going to be 2021 now.
I don't we've talked this to death over the past month, with the PS5, with this, the one thing, and I noted this to you in our group chat when you posted the link to this.
You're the only one who said anything from the people who I've watched.
It pisses me off. It's just another symptom of PlayStation and how they've been communicating. They had to put out 3 separate statements about backwards compatibility because they couldn't say it right. But yeah, it's we read a story on this podcast last week where PlayStation were talking about COVID-19 and saying, we are presently unaware of any issues that could cause delays in their gaming division, because it was a company-wide thing about all the different divisions. And then a week later they've come out and said, yeah, we're delaying The Last of Us Part 2, and it's huh. How quickly did you come to that decision? And again, I'm devastated, but not angry that this has happened. And I'm not pissed off that it's happened. I'm pissed off with the way that they're communicating right now, where it's
yeah, it's kind of PlayStation 3 era Sony.
Yeah. It is PlayStation 3. It's they say one thing and they do another thing. They say one thing and it's so confusing you have to say it again, and then that still doesn't work, and then you have to say it again, and it's guys need to get your marketing and PR together. But that aside, I think what PlayStation are looking for with The Last of Us Part 2, specifically because it's the most anticipated game of the year. It'll probably be the best-selling game. If it came out in 2020, it'd probably be the best-selling game of the year.
For PlayStation, probably, for their exclusives.
And also, it's... for their exclusives, it'll probably be the best-selling PlayStation 4 game of all time. But...
That'd be very interesting if it can go... I'm just because I know Spider-Man sold very well as well, didn't it? Yeah. I'd be very fascinated to see what the numbers would be.
But that's why I love numbers. That's why I like having you around. Keith was always like, oh, numbers. And I was always like, numbers are really interesting now. They tell a story. If you can, follow the narrative thread. But I digress. What I think they're trying to avoid... Come on, Keith. What I think they're trying to avoid is a Final Fantasy VII situation. And I don't mean, Square Enix came out and said, look, we might have a shortage of physical copies. What they've done is in certain parts of the world, they've just released the game. My friend Tori had the game since last week, and she's been playing it. She got a copy delivered last Thursday, Friday, something like that. I still don't even have Resident Evil 3. There's no justice in the world. But what I think they're trying to avoid is, because of how story-heavy The Last of Us is, I think part of their thinking behind this delay is if people in Australia got the game, a week and a half before the street date, because they just had to get the game out and make sure that people could get it, that causes issues if people in America can't get it, and then people are talking about the game on Twitter, and then spoilers start going around, and then all of a sudden, there'll be a portion of the player base who's had the game ruined. And it's not necessarily the people who have already played its fault. It's just we're in that kind of weird space with Final Fantasy VII at the minute, where it's it's like a minefield going around Twitter, in social media right now, because people are playing this game.
It is. It's disappointing that that's happened and everything like that, but it's kind of happened to Sony with The Last of Us, because someone's got it.
Yeah, someone's got it. There was leaks. I did briefly see.
I didn't see any leaks or anything like that. 9 times out of 10, I'm very careful when it comes to leaks and everything like that, especially when it comes to games. So I'd rarely see any spoilers.
I saw the headlines. I always see the headlines, and I use critical thing. You know whether to click on the headline or not. And when it says Sony are desperately trying to scrub Last of Us Part 2 leaks from the internet, I'm like, I'm not going to click on that.
I'm not even touching it with it.
But thank you for the heads up, Eurogamer.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of work. As for Ghost of Tsushima, I think we'll find out in a few weeks if that gets delayed. Like, it'll be a closely monitoring the situation kind of thing, because, like, they were probably, like, the company was expecting to make a buttload of money in May, and now they're not going to make a buttload of money in May. Like, if they can release Ghost of Tsushima in June still, they'll want to do that. Plus, I don't know if they'll be as bothered about early copies getting out to people for Ghost of Tsushima, because that would, rather than The Last of Us 2 worrying about it ruining other players' experiences, because Ghost of Tsushima is a new IP, that might actually, if there's hype built around a certain group of people getting early copies and talking about how great it is, that could build hype and convert people who are on the fence into buying the game.
Yeah.
I do think The Last of Us is going to leapfrog Ghost of Tsushima, though. Like, I don't think they're going to, if they were in a situation where they could release The Last of Us at the end of June, I don't think they'll push Tsushima back and release The Last of Us. I think they'll release Ghost of Tsushima if they can in June, and then The Last of Us will come out whenever it comes out. July?
Oh.
If it came out in July,
like
that would be good, because nothing ever comes out in July.
Yeah, like July and August would be perfect for them, really. Because, like, say, nothing comes out and everything going to be the perfect game just to smash and replay multiple times and probably cry and go, oh my god, why did we do that? And everything.
Yeah.
But like when they say in the article and everything like that, the game's practically done.
Yeah.
It's pretty much done. All that hard crushing and everything, what they were doing and everything, apparently, it's paid off. They're pretty much on the final edges of QA with the bugs and tests. This now just gives them that little bit of leeway to now probably say, yo, staff, you can rest for a little bit.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Take your time, rest a bit, come back to it in like a week or two. And you know what I mean? Like, we know you can't go out, don't worry. We can't. But, I heard you wanted to play Ori. Go and play it.
Yeah. Here's a copy. Here's a code.
You still haven't played the first Last of Us. Here you go.
Oh, you've missed all the video games that have come out in the last 7 years. Okay, yeah, well.
Sorry, because you've been making the Last of Us. I've spoiled the Last of Us.
But I really I do hope that it calms down for them. Like, they don't. Yeah. I really hope that Naughty Dog don't keep crunching. Like, I hope they stop crunching altogether, but that's, wishful pipe dream thinking. Like, I hope that, like, it does cause them to stop crunching. Like, and not just keep crunching and going, well, there's these non-critical bugs we could fix if we really put all the time into it, and we could polish this bit up. If it just finish the game, let it go gold. Metaphorically speaking, the whole reason it's been delayed is because it's not going to go gold, but let it go gold and then just let it sit. Mm-hmm. Just let it sit. And then when Sony's ready to release it, just put it out there.
Put it out, and it could be one of the most polished titles they've ever released.
We're in danger of The Last of Us and Cyberpunk coming out at the same time again.
Remember when it was Final Fantasy, Last of Us, and Cyberpunk?
Final Fantasy, Last of Us, Cyberpunk, Resident Evil. Yeah, I remember that. Avengers. Like, yeah. Like, the thing is, if this keeps going on for months and months, and starts, like a tidal wave just starts delaying everything, like crashing into Ghost of Tsushima is delayed, Cyberpunk's delayed, Avengers is delayed. It's gonna suck in the short term, but like, if all of these games suddenly came out in January 2021, a hell of a month.
2021 is now starting to look pretty darn sexy, because 9 times out of 10 when it comes to a new console launch, like the first year to 18 months, and 9 times out of 10 aren't the best.
Yeah,
they're a bit of a drag. And now you could be going into it like saying, oh god, we could have Last of Us Part 2 as the launch title for PlayStation 5, and saying Ghost of Tsushima could be like 3 months after that, and then Horizon Zero Dawn.
I was going to say, and that's
6 months after that.
That's if they don't already have planned. Yeah. Like Horizon 2 to come out with the PS5 in November, and then that gets pushed back, and all of a sudden you're looking at a PS5 that has like backwards compatibility, could potentially have like Cyberpunk, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon 2. It's like, oh fuck. This is the greatest launch lineup of any console in history.
You just don't know. You don't know. The thing is that I think it's going to be very interesting. Like I say, it's still too far away from them for them right now, and I know they've come out and says they're okay right now, but a lot of people, I think, are going to start looking at Cyberpunk again soon. Could that get delayed again?
We'd
Which
have,
which would be understandable. We can all. This is the thing about it for everybody. I
yeah,
think we should
definitely.
all just remember it's all understandable at the end of the day. I know because I've seen some nays say, "I just release it on digital." Some people really don't like digital as much as like I prefer digital. It's just because it's just a space saver for me more than anything. A lot of people love their physical discs,
Yeah, but
especially like we.
these, yeah, like internet infrastructure isn't good enough. It's the same things we've argued about when talking about Stadia, since that was revealed. Internet infrastructure doesn't support digital only releases of a game that's probably going to be 100 GB. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like if you're saying someone has to buy that digitally, then there's a chance that they might not buy it at all,
Yeah.
because data caps are a thing. Because internet speeds are terrible. Whatever the case may be.
And we're human. We're the most stubbornest species out there. If we get told to do something, 9 times out of 10, we would do the opposite. So,
Don't know why that suddenly came up all of us. Let's move on. Let's talk about
let's move on
summer.
to something more joyful.
Let's talk about summer. Summer's a fun time, isn't it? The sun's shining, the birds are tweeting.
Hopefully, we'll be out there with the summer.
Hopefully, we'll be outside
Yeah.
by the time this happens. Who knows? IGN announces the Summer of Gaming event in June. This is from Jonathan Dornbush, ironically enough, from IGN. He writes, IGN, yeah, IGN, yeah, just decided to go straight to the source for this story, not gonna lie. IGN is proud to announce our new Summer of Gaming event, a global digital event set to begin this June to bring you the latest news and impressions around upcoming games and the next generation of console hardware. IGN will be collaborating with a number of partners for the Summer of Gaming, including 2K, Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Amazon, Google Stadia, Twitter, Devolver Digital, THQ Nordic, and more. Expect more details in the coming weeks. The event will include live broadcasts and on-demand programming featuring IGN's editorial coverage of the work of game developers from around the world. With E3 2020 cancelled, IGN has a suite of programming planned to kick off in early June. It includes publisher presentations with IGN pre- and post-discussions, remote developer interviews, hands-on demos and preview impressions, gameplay, and news segments recapping the biggest announcements. Audiences at home and around the world can participate as well, sending in reaction videos, voting on favourite announcements, and more. Nope, that's just IGN. That would be an advert for IGN if I read that. Quote, with the next generation of console gaming kicking off later this year and gamers eager to learn more about what games they'll be playing on their new hardware, our online event will be a key moment for publishers and developers to connect with the audience worldwide, Per Schneider, Chief Content and Product Officer at IGN, said in a statement alongside the announcement. More and more people are turning towards video games for entertainment and escapism. Last week we saw new records for traffic across all our platforms. We're excited to bring this global digital event to our audiences and partners, as this will be an event not to be missed. Yale EVP and General Manager at IGN said in a statement as well. IGN will bring you more information on the event in the weeks to come, but stay tuned for all the latest on our Summer of Gaming. Moody, the Summer of Gaming! Somebody went out and fucking finally did it. Somebody did it. They were like, E3's gone, waffle, we'll do our own E3. And I'll have blackjack and hookahs. Probably not, but...
Probably not that, but yeah.
I can't resist a good Futurama quote.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is absolutely wonderful. Developers are going to be able to show their games. You're going to be able to speak. They're going to be able to speak to them and see all the things of what why they're excited for these games and everything. And it just shows you that one door closes, another one will open for the games industry, and we will all band together to try and help one of each other out. And that's what it has shown here. The media gets a lot of hate sometimes. Some justified, some unjustified. But IGN have come out here and really done a canny thing here. This is absolutely fantastic. I'm over the moon with this. As a hopefully future developer for myself, just to know that if I'm creating something with friends or something like that, or with a team, that I could possibly do something like this, to go to one of them and say, yo, I've got a game here. I'd love you to be able to ones to show it off and everything in some sort of capacity.
Kind of funny game showcase. That's what that's for.
Although
Love
that
that
does
thing.
make me wonder. I believe they're still doing theirs, aren't they?
Well, how I see this being a thing is they have grabbed, like, looking at the list of the partners that they've got: 2K, Square, Sega, Bandai, Amazon, Stadia, Twitter for some reason, Devolver, THQ Nordic, and more. It always says and more, but because I think this is like a coming together of like companies that aren't as big as EA, Xbox, Nintendo, like companies that can't necessarily like afford necessarily to, or like have the bandwidth to put on a show for themselves. So IGN, because this is just an expansion of what they normally do at E3. Like the developer interviews, they do those at E3. The demos, the impressions, the gameplay, the new segments, this is all just their E3 programming. Like once the presentations have stopped and E3 has started, like they usually have the stage in the convention center where they've got developers coming up talking and they're doing gameplay demos as like they're talking or they're showing gameplay footage. Like it just sounds like all IGN are doing is adapting that to be like fully online. So like no stage at the convention center. Cool. Well, we'll just do it remotely. Gameplay demos. Cool. Send us the demo code because IGN have probably got dev kits for consoles like that they can plug the demo code into. Cool. Do that. Yeah. That works. And then like Xbox will still do their own thing. Nintendo will still do a direct and they'll all do it around about the same time. To create the experience of E3 without necessarily having an E3.
That's true.
It'll be interesting to see who off that list does presentations, because when they're talking about publisher presentations, they're talking about IGN pre and post show discussions. So some of these are going to be like press conferences or directs or whatever. And I only see two names in here. Actually, like Square, Google, and Devolver. They did E3 things last year. Like their own press conferences, presentations. Utter insanity if you're talking about Devolver, but I love it so much. But like, is Sega going to do a presentation? Is 2K? Is Bandai Namco? Is Amazon? Is Twitter? What would a Twitter E3 presentation look like?
That is an eyebrow raising one, no doubt about it. Yeah. Twitter.
But the Kind of Funny Games showcase will still be a thing that can go forward, because that's just them getting footage and into one video that they just upload. Yeah. Xbox will still be able to do a direct style event. Nintendo will still do a direct. State of Play might still be a thing. That happens beforehand, probably, maybe. Who knows? I don't think we as people who consume this content from afar, like we consume it from the internet anyway, I don't think we're going to notice a huge difference.
Yeah.
To what we've seen before, especially now that IGN's Summer of Gaming is ago. Warner Brothers isn't on that list though.
Sorry?
Warner Brothers isn't on that list. I'm just wondering what their plan is.
Makes me think they're probably going to do their own digital event unless they're teaming up with maybe Sony or Microsoft.
Yeah, maybe. Doing their own thing. Well, doing their thing at somebody else's show.
A bigger stage. No offense to this.
Yeah.
I don't mean it in a bad way, because this is all golden. This is brilliant. I love what they're doing, like I've already said. But that's the only thing I can think of why Warner Brothers aren't there.
Maybe.
Unless they haven't agreed with them yet.
Yeah, it could just be that they're working out the kinks.
They just said these names and more.
And more. So yeah, they could be like negotiating. Who knows? Maybe they are negotiating with Xbox and Nintendo and PlayStation and EA, and that's just taking longer because they're bigger platforms.
And basically locking every IGN staff member into an embargo, not allowed to say anything, because they'll get to see certain games probably a week earlier, if not earlier. Than that.
Yeah, that's just the job, though. That's
I know that, but that's poised. But that poised be one of the negotiations.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is fantastic. I'm so happy for this.
Cool. Missed the mute button.
I didn't hear anything, so just
no. That's to unmute myself. I missed the button. I was like, shit. Just a quick one for the next one. The E3 2021 dates have been confirmed. It's from Vicky Blake over at Eurogamer, Who writes, E3 organizer, the Entertainment Software Association, has confirmed next year's event will take place on the 15th to the 17th of June 2021. ESA told its partners that it's currently devising a reimagined show, but is yet to expand on what that might mean. So, apart from the fact that there's dates for the 2021 show, like, the stuff about it, they're going to reimagine it, but we don't know what the reimagining is going to look like. We're exactly where we were 2 months ago. for that part, because it's just like, oh, fucking.
They're going to still do the same thing they were going to do this year, because they want to see if it works. That's basically what they want to do. They want to see if it works. It's great to hear that they are going to be there next year and everything like that. Which we all, I think, deep down thought was going to happen. It's just all going to depend on what the numbers are going to be for people there and everything. That's when we realize if E3 is truly dying or not. I know a lot of people do believe it's probably going to be going away eventually, but we don't, or something like that. So It's going to be fascinating.
The sheer fact that IGN can step in and do a Summer of Gaming event with multiple like AAA publishers tells me that we're still a long way from E3 dying in any way. Yeah. I think it's just a good thing. I think it's just a good idea for them to get out before whatever happens in June happens, because now it's in everybody's minds who would go to E3. Cool, the date, it's there. E3 2021 is a thing. That's where it is. Like, to get out before, like, because if Microsoft comes out and has like an incredibly huge thing where it's like their numbers are ridiculous and this, that, and the other, or IGN's Summer of Gaming is like much bigger in terms of viewership than E3 last year was, then a lot of publishers could be thinking, why do we do E3 when we could just do this instead? So for them to then confirm the dates, it's already put it in the minds of,
hey, we're still here, we're still relevant.
We're still a thing. Get your plans sorted for E3 2021. We might not be in lockdown by then. Speaking of events, because this is what we talk about now. This is all we talk about in games media now. Gamescom 2020 to host at least a digital event in August. This is from Stephanie Nonnelly over at VG247, who writes, Gamescom 2020 organisers have updated plans for the annual event, stating digital formats will go on as planned and an evaluation will take place this spring to see if the show can go on as planned on site. The annual Gamescom show will not take place for 5 months, but some of the planned measures have been outlined in light of the corona crisis. According to organisers, the existing digital options such as Gamescom Opening Night Live and other streams will be significantly expanded and new modules added. This means Gamescom will definitely take place, at least in a digital format, August 25th to 29th, and will not be postponed. Organisers will make an evaluation mid-May as to how Gamescom can also take place on site in Cologne based on the latest developments of the COVID-19 pandemic at that time. They said if an on-site event is possible, more information will be made at that time. Those who plan to attend the show will receive a refund for already paid tickets, and exhibitors will be reimbursed in full for payments made if Gamescom cannot take place on location in Cologne. So Gamescom happening, one way or another.
They're just covering each sides, basically. That's all. Just backing themselves up. They're still hoping that they're going to be able to do the full event as normal. But just in case, it's best to be prepared than not.
Yeah, because I don't think they will. I think we're going to get mid-May, and I don't think they're going to suddenly be able to. I don't think, like, we might be in a position, like, worldwide where they could host Gamescom in August, but if they're having to make the decision in the middle of May, I don't think they'll be in a position where they can say, yes, we can have 250,000 people in one place in Cologne.
It's all dependent, obviously, the ever-changing thing there, what's happening with Corona. I do agree with you. I think it's going to be the digital event, no doubt about it, but see what happens.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the rest of this year is just going to be digital events and whatnot.
When it comes to like these game things,
yeah, I think people are going to be skittish either way. Like, even if Gamescom's going ahead, and you know the curves have all been flattened and they're all going down, and people are going back to work and stuff like that. I think people are still going to be skittish about traveling, like internationally, to go to a convention like Gamescom. Just for everything that's gone on in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So I think that's a thing. But I love the idea of Gamescom doing an all digital event, whereas E3 stepped back and said, like, we're not doing anything, like, officially as E3. To the point where, like, someone stepped up, like IGN and other companies are gonna have to do their own thing, whereas Gamescom have gone in the opposite direction and just gone, cool, we're definitely doing an expanded digital event. Gamescom opening night live is still gonna happen. Other streams, which are probably like interviews and stuff, like gameplay demos, they're all still gonna happen.
Yeah,
I imagine there'll be some sort of similar thing as we saw at Game Awards last year, and the Spring Festival that happened on Steam last month, where I think there'll be game demos available for people to download and try in August as well.
probably, yeah.
Which is cool. I had fun. The Spring Festival was a bit overboard. I'm just going to throw that out there. Spring Festival organizers. You put 49 game demos out. Like, you put 49 game demos out. I managed to try like 6.
I was just about to say, did you get to play most of them?
Because time is linear. Like,
that is true. Yeah.
Like, I played
if it
6
happened
of them.
now, you would have all the time in the world.
If they did it again next weekend,
right now, I'm good. I'll be good.
Do it in 2 weeks. So I've had time to play Resi and Final Fantasy, and then we'll talk. Like, I'll play all 49. I'll do a 65-hour live stream where I just play all the indie games. There was some good games in there, actually. I did a whole like 3-hour live stream. But like that's the format I think Gamescom is going to take, like in 2020. And I feel like this isn't just going to be for 2020. I feel like for Gamescom specifically, whatever their expanded online features are going to carry forward, like into 2021 and beyond. Because while a lot of people do get to go there, excuse me. Well, a lot of people do get to go there. Like, they're trying to serve a broader audience of people like myself and you. And opening night live was apparently a big success last year. We got to watch Norman Reedus pee on a mushroom. So
that is true. That was true.
So who knows what?
We saw some good games from it, but my thing for last year's thing was always that you could feel it was in the lull that we know what was coming this year.
Yeah, this is very much like the test.
Yeah, that was the test bed. This year's one will be a completely different one, and will be focused on both next gen.
Yeah, because it's like, cool, we've done this and we've tested it out, and here's the games, and like opening it live, like, because Jeff Keighley's always like tried to bring some focus to smaller games, so there will still be a lot of smaller games.
Definitely.
But there's also going to be potentially console releases like 2 months away from when opening night live is. 2-3 months.
You would think one of them would want to. Well, I don't know. Like, let's see. It all depends on how they want to do this. Because, like, say, if they go off how they did last time, PlayStation 4 revealed the price before they revealed the date. Because they waited to reveal the date. They waited until Gamescom.
Yes.
But it was vice versa. But the Xbox, they just revealed it all outright, didn't they?
PlayStation 4, there was the February thing where they revealed their tech specs, and then
there was E3,
and then there was the reveal event, there was E3, and then there was the Gamescom, because Gamescom was still a big deal at everybody attended Gamescom back in 2013. Like, I remember
everyone
there was
still does now, apparently, with over 200, 300,000.
I mean, everyone does, but like everyone used to do, like, there was Gamescom press conference season was a thing.
Yeah.
Xbox also did their reveal event, bombed that. E3 couldn't pull it around. Gamescom, and then but they had revealed everything about their console. By the end of E3
was give a definitive date, because I think they only said November.
Yeah, I don't know. It's 7 years ago.
Yeah. If we're wrong, ladies and gentlemen, please let us know.
Yeah, just hit us up in the comments. All I remember is Don Matrick's smug, smarmy face. What if people can't connect to the internet? We have a console for them. It's called the Xbox 360.
I think it's funny that they did the same thing that
PlayStation did. They even have the quote. Like, there's that quote, and then you go back, and it's like you've got the quote that just sunk the entire enterprise for Xbox. And then PlayStation 3 was the same thing when someone asked him, like, oh, yeah, well, people can't afford $600 console. Well, they'll just have to get a second job. That was the entire fucking... That was PlayStation 3 fucked. when that was said. And it's the same... It was the same thing with Don Matrick, where it's just like, you fucking... Jesus. Jesus. You said that.
Speaking of Microsoft,
Phil Spencer's been on our podcast. The headline is
I think
Microsoft.
It's funny that sorry for putting in. I think it's funny that everyone thought it was Fulcher.
See, Platinum Games did actually do that. They hyped up their fourth game reveal, and then they revealed it on April 1st, and it was an April Fool's joke, and everyone was fucking pissed because it was like, you fucking what? You can't fucking hype up an April Fool's joke. That's not how April Fool's works.
Respect, Platinum, respect.
You fucking assholes. Now they're like, now they're trying to say, oh, but we're actually going to reveal something, and everyone's just like, fuck you.
Don't care no more.
Still pissed.
You broke us. We're still pissed about Scalebound.
Oh, we're still pissed about Scalebound. But let's read the actual news story. Microsoft, staggered launch would hurt Xbox Series X. This is from Matthew Handrahan over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, staggering the global rollout of the Xbox Series X console would hurt the platform, according to Xbox boss Phil Spencer, who said that there is still no plan B to launching the console this year. Speaking to IGN on its Unlocked podcast, Spencer responded to a question about Plan B that could happen if the spread of the COVID-19 virus makes launching a new console impossible in 2020. IGN suggested that a staggered launch could be achievable this year, with the Xbox Series X made available in some territories before others. This is what Spencer said. I know that significant delays in regional launches hurt us. It hurts us with the sentiment of the fans. Every time I go to Japan, I'm reminded that we were 9 months late launching there with Xbox One. And the internet means that everybody knows where everything is launched. It's not like 30 years ago. You don't get the roar of people getting excited from other regions. We haven't started on that plan B, but I'd be hesitant to do something like that. End quote. Supply chains that rely on China's manufacturing capacity have started to come back, Spencer said, in a way that bodes well for Xbox to meet its targets for the year. However, he also stressed that the biggest challenges that Xbox faces right now are more software related than hardware. With its workforce now operating from their homes, Microsoft is still solving the problem of replicating vital development functions within a distributed team. Sorry, I almost said a disturbed team, which is technically also accurate.
They're all disturbed right now.
Quote, building a video game from home with a large distributed team of hundreds of people is not easy. On the hardware platform side, that time with the Xbox Series X console is important, and we have to make sure we have the right amount of time for platform tech to be put into place, getting the testing done. We've had to move a lot of that testing into homes. Things right now aren't easy. Things are stretched. I could feel it in the teams. They're stretched. We have nothing right now that says we're not going to make the dates we've been planning, but also, this is real-time stuff. I'm going to put the security and safety of our teams at the top, along with the quality of the product. I don't want to rush our product out if it's not ready, end quote. Phil Spencer. Does anyone from PlayStation do podcasts anymore?
No.
Because I know like they used to. Gio Corsi when he worked there, Adam Boyes when he worked there.
And they both all left?
Yeah, they left. Shu.
You don't hear nothing about Shu anymore.
He just does indie games now. Like he's responsible for like finding indie games, which he does a good job with.
He was the talk of the town when the PlayStation 4 was getting revealed. And
everybody loves Shu. But this is the thing. Before we talk about what Phil said here, this is the thing that PlayStation had at the start of the year, because I just did that, like that thing. Like if I said like Shuei Ishida, Sean Layden, Adam Boyes, Gio Corsi, like those were the PlayStation people. Like you knew who they were. And now, who works at PlayStation? Like Jim Ryan is someone who works there. Like he's the guy in charge. Herman from Guerrilla Games got promoted, and I know Corey Barlog, but like these are like development studios people, not Sony
But Cory
executives.
Barlog, even though he's the more famous of the people at his studio, he's not the boss of the studio.
No,
That's what people have got to remember. I
he's-
think people sometimes think he's actually the man full in charge, High Lord and Emperor of his studio.
he's in charge of the game. Like he's
Yeah.
the director of the game. He's the Hideo Kojima, but it's not. He's not in charge of the studio. Like they have studio managers for that. But then you go over to Xbox, who we knew no one from Xbox apart from Don Matrick, but we all wanted to slap him in the face. Like, and now it's like they've got Phil Spencer and they've got Matt Booty and they've got Chris Chala and they've got AC Bongos. Why can I never remember his actual name? That stupid Twitter handle. AC Bongos. He's got an actual real name and I've forgotten it. But it's like, it is interesting that it's flipped now.
Yeah.
Where it's like, they don't do podcasts and they don't have people facing people up on stages and stuff. Where it's like, Phil comes out. You know damn well when Phil Spencer comes out to talk to us, he's going to be wearing a sports jacket and a gaming t-shirt. That used to be Sean Layden's thing. Remember PSX? Remember the Crash Bandicoot t-shirt? I still haven't forgiven him for that.
Well, you got Crash.
I did.
Year.
6 months later, we came out at the fucking beginning of PSX and he was like, look, I'm wearing a Crash Bandicoot t-shirt. Not revealing it, though.
He was just like...
Actually shouted at him. I remember that was a podcast. We did the PSX thing and I literally grabbed my webcam and got right up in my face and I was like, listen, Sean, if you fucking wear a Crash Bandicoot t-shirt, you better answer Crash Bandicoot. Fucking.
I think it's best to get back to the main.
Yeah, but we'll get back to the main topic now. It's tangents, like the lifeblood of the Words About Gamescast.
That is true. It's basically the same thing with everyone else. He's taking it bit by bit. He's taking his time. He's seeing what's happening and everything like that. If he feels like if the software is not going to be there, he will delay this. Basically, that's what he's saying in the best ways possible, in the most productive and corporate way he can say it. But he's been frank with us and honest with us, which is something that PlayStation haven't been doing of late, which really need to sort out.
They need to sort out their messaging because again, Xbox have got people like Phil Spencer who can just come out and say some shit, and everyone, you know what I mean, and everyone goes, okay, cool. But like PlayStation, again, they've got this communication problem at the moment.
Well, that's the thing about it. Like, actually, they have Phil Spencer who comes out. He just comes out and you can see he's a legit dude. And people thought Sean Layden was something kind of like that, but then when you saw his more bubbly side and he opened up for each conference that he did, you saw that this guy, he's very energetic. He's passionate for the PlayStation and everything. Jim Ryan doesn't come across like that for PlayStation.
No, definitely.
Now things could change and everything, and hopefully he will. But that's the scary thing when it comes to PlayStation right now. Jim Ryan comes across as a very corporate dude.
Yeah.
And that's what we do not want to see. No, we don't want to see that at the front, and that's what PlayStation need to sort out.
The time of GameCube, like you can have a corporate dude be in charge of the gaming division.
Yeah.
But the time of the corporate dude being the face of your company, like on stage and presenting stuff, is long gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
That's
like Nintendo destroyed that. Like with people like Reggie coming out and Sakurai, that's not a thing you can get away with anymore. That's why Phil Spencer is so successful with Xbox, because of the way he talks about stuff.
This is the thing. I think if the Game Awards did the same thing that they did 2 years ago, where they brought the three chiefs on board from each company, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation, I think the Nintendo and the Xbox one would get cheered, but I think Jim Ryan would get a little mixed reaction. Because people are unsure for him right now. They're very unsure. He comes across, like I said already, he comes across very corporate. Sean Layden, everyone already knew who he was. He has a personality, and everyone was good when they heard he left PlayStation.
I was disappointed.
Yeah, I think it's what makes it even more is because we don't know what the hell happened.
It was a really weird situation. I remember the podcast episode we did about it. That was a very strange departure.
until to this day, we don't know what the hell that guy's doing right now.
I don't think we'll ever. I don't think we'll ever 100%. I think it'll be Kojima Kodami all over again. I don't think we're ever gonna know what
probably
went down that made Sean Layden leave PlayStation.
Right. But we don't even know what the hell he's doing right now. So right now he's just chilling. Well, everyone's just chilling. So
everyone's just chilling right now.
But we're back to the story again. We've gone back on a tangent again, ladies and gentlemen. That's what happened.
It's it. Look, like I watch a podcast called PSL of You XOXO. It is impossible right now to talk about Xbox without talking about PlayStation and vice versa because they're both releasing new consoles. Like the conversation inevitably dovetails from one to the other because they're both related right now.
Yeah. But there's a chance this gets delayed. There's no doubt about it. It all depends on what happens with the pandemic right now. It's literally all on that. If this thing's done, if this thing's done or mostly done by say July, August, I think there's a chance the things don't get delayed.
Yes.
But if it continues, then it's gonna get delayed, just like the PlayStation 5 is gonna. So, but he's taking it one thing at a time. Because the thing, if we're still in the same thing that we're doing right now, by the time the consoles technically come out, which I don't think will happen, I think we'll all be allowed out by then. But it all depends if the stores are open. You know what I mean?
If
the stores aren't open, we can't go out and get it. Yes, I know you can order online and everything, but if millions of people order online at the same time, that'll break a lot of sites.
The issue is if people are confined for that long, millions of people have lost their jobs, won't be able to afford a new console.
There's that as well. So that'll push them back as well. That'll say people can't even afford this right now. We've got to push it.
100%.
Just like the Last of Us situation, people can't get it, so we're gonna have to push it.
Like it's like we want to avoid it's essentially the same story. We want to avoid a staggered launch, like with Last of Us, more or less is what happened. Graham Boyd, AC Bongos. Graham Boyd.
It's a weird name.
He was on a Fix interviewed him on an episode of My Xbox and Me.
Oh yeah. No, I mean his Twitter handle.
Matt Booty's the
Graham
best.
Boyd, AC Bongos. Graham Boyd, AC Bongos. It's kind of like Amy Alexander and Joe, whatever your thing is.
That was the name of my first Dungeons and Dragons character, and it just kind of stuck to everything. So
yeah.
I was gonna say it's gone. It's fine. Matt Booty's got the best name in the business. He's an Xbox guy.
Does he have a booty?
I mean, he must do, right?
Does he have a good booty? That's what it is.
He must.
With a name, a booty.
The thing about these guys, the thing about these guys is we only ever see them from the front because they're always presenting something to us.
They need to start showing more stuff.
So yeah, sure. We need to see Matt Booty's booty.
You think people went to see Avengers Endgame to see what happened in Avengers Endgame? Most of them, no. Some people went to go and see Sexy Cap and Sexy Thor, and then some had their broken hearts because they unsexed Thor. I can't remember. I can't forgive them for that.
The next news story. Next news story. This is a report as well. We've done a few of these today. Take it with a grain of salt. Resident Evil 8 is first person, takes serious departures, and will be out next year. This is from Vicky Blake over at Eurogamer. He writes, Aesthetic Gamer, aka Dusk Golem. Hope that's their real name. That would be amazing. The source of many horror-flavoured leaks, including accurate leaks about Resident Evil 3 Remake and those not yet accurate Silent Hill leaks, Konami, as you'd probably expect, refutes them, purports the next installment of the horror series will release next year. Interestingly, Aesthetic Gamer reports the game started out not as a mainline game, but was originally developed as a successor in the Revelations spin-off series. However, Capcom and playtesters were so impressed by early prototypes that it was co-opted to become the next Resident Evil game. Quote, okay, so the little game is done. This will be breaking this month with more details later, not by myself, but I've needed to clear some stuff up. Resident Evil 2021 is Resident Evil 8, but it wasn't always RE8. During most of its development, it existed as Revelations 3. The reason I said RE8 was years away earlier this year is last year RE8 was in development, and that one is years away. But Capcom didn't want a huge gap between RE7 and RE8, so that title got pushed to the side for now, and internal testing and such was super positive on Revelations 3. End quote. The leaker also reported Resident Evil 8 will be a cross-gen game, intimating it'll come to both current and next-gen systems. That's what cross-gen means. Quote, it is first-person, and many purists are going to hate it because it's taking some serious departures in the story / enemies and the like. Hallucinations, occultism, insanity, and not being able to trust others are huge thematics of the game. End quote. If Aesthetic Gamer is right, and there is absolutely every chance they're not, of course, this is just a rumour at this point, we should see Resident Evil 8 in 2021. I mean, on that last statement, I would say, and water is wet. Like, I expected RE8 next year. Like, I'd have been more surprised if it wasn't coming out next year, or at least planned to. Because, like, by 2021, it'll have been 4 years since RE7.
Yeah, that's true. Like, and you gotta think they probably were already on pre-production when 7 was about to come out.
Yeah, like, they were already making the next game. Like, they have multiple design studios making Resident Evil games. Clearly, we just had 2 remakes in, like, less than a year. Not just over a year, sorry. A lot of this doesn't surprise me.
There's no, I can't, don't deny that whatsoever. I think you're spot on. The thing is, part of it says that he thinks some of the purists will not like this, and that just goes back to a friend of ours who enjoyed 7, but he wasn't truly in love with 7 like you and me. Like you and me loved 7 and everything.
Played it in VR.
But and everything, yeah. But like I said, but going back to it, like I said, for everyone, like different opinion, it's all subjective and everything like that. If you didn't click it didn't click with them.
Yeah, it happens.
It just makes me think they've had a lot of success with like the remakes and everything, with Remake 2 and Remake 3. It's interesting that they're not going to try and find a right balance to maybe try and do to help both new and old.
No,
to Resident Evil.
What I think is, as far as the Resident Evil franchise goes, I think there's two tracks. I guess tracks is a good way to describe it at this point. I think as far as the third-person camera view stuff that's the remakes territory now. Like, I feel like we're going to get remakes of 0, we're going to get another remake of 1, we might get a remake of 4, we'll probably get a remake of Code Veronica, like, to unify the gameplay style of all of those games into what RE2 and RE3 have done. And I feel like the mainline series, like, was never going to go back, away from first person.
Yeah.
I think this stuff about what purists want, like, and I know a lot of purists didn't like the first person, and a lot of the design decisions around RE7. I think what he's talking about, or what Aesthetic Gamer is talking about there, is the story stuff that is mentioned towards the end of the story. It's like hallucinations, occultism, insanity, and trust. Not being able to trust others. It's Resident Evil.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's Resident Evil.
That's Resident Evil. The other stuff, not so much.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. If we remember rightly, at the end of it, we're going to be that we know from a report that we talked about before, or the rumor that we talked about before with Resident Evil 8, that you're going to be playing with it as Ethan again. And if we remember rightly, Ethan is infected with whatever he got from Resident Evil 7. So that, like, going through what happened just on that game alone, he suffered hallucinations, he suffered from all these things, just like what his wife did. Yes. So you can only imagine that that's what she went through. You're going to go through now, and it's going to go one of those things.
That'd be fucked up.
They're going to be good. Yeah, they're aiming for something very Hellblade-ish.
I think they're doubling down on horror.
Yeah. But I think they're going more psychological, though.
Yeah, and that's cool. Like,
yeah, that's excellent.
They did a really good job of making a horror game with RE7. Because while, like, zombies and apocalyptic pandemic outbreaks are, like, classic horror territory,
yeah,
like, our Resident Evil games very rarely been scary. Like, they've had moments where you'll jump, like RE3, the original Nemesis, jumping through the police station window for the first time scared the living shit out of me when I was a
Yeah.
kid, momentarily. Like, whereas like with RE7, there was, and part of this is down to the fact that I was playing it in VR, but like there was always an underlying terror to RE7
Yeah.
that doesn't exist in other Resident Evil games. Like RE2 Remake managed to do it with the way it was designed. Maybe RE3 does. Haven't played it yet. Damn you, Royal Mail. But the like, I feel like RE8 is probably gonna doubling down on the horror stuff. Like when you talk about insanity and hallucinations, that instantly piques my interest because that is
Yeah.
psychological horror territory. Like
Yeah.
if
Definitely.
done correctly,
Yeah.
like
It is fascinating. What's the saying? Evolve or die.
yeah, I literally just thought that. Like
Yeah.
I was like the thing about purists being annoyed about a game is like I'm pretty sure we sarcastically talked about this last week, where it was like you can make studios make the same thing over and over again, but if Guerrilla Games had have done that, we would never would have gotten Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you need to make something different, and like even if it is a Resident Evil game, Resident Evil can't be the same thing it was in 1997. Like it
Yeah.
just can't. Like that's not how anything works. Never mind just video games. And
That is true. Yeah. It's spot on there.
it is going to put some people off, and that sucks. But it is going to bring in. It's going to bring people back as well. Like, and it's going to
Bringing a
bring.
new audience.
It's going to bring in new people who
Yeah.
like didn't like Resident Evil. Like I could, like I hold Resident Evil, the early Resident Evil franchise, in incredibly high regard. But if you
Yeah.
can't deal with tank controls, I totally get it. Cause tank controls just fucking suck. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like one of listen to Greg Miller. He could not get along with tank controls at all, but then
I knew there was someone I was thinking of who was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was he couldn't do it with the old ones, but then when Remake 2 came out, he was like, okay, now I'm getting it. I see why people enjoy this game and everything like that. Because the games are just a lot more the controls and gameplay is a lot more
Yeah.
better. It's more streamlined, it plays better and
It's more
everything.
fluid. Like,
Yeah, it's more fluid
I just ranked the Resident Evil games in a video, and I did put Remake 1 and the original Resident Evil 2 above the remake of 2. But like if it was just purely which game feels the best to play,
yeah.
like it's RE2 Remake without a doubt. Like
Yeah.
Just yeah. I'm just looking it up. Resident Evil 7's sold 7 million units. It's the it's the third best selling game in the series.
What
Behind
did Remake 2 do?
RE6 and RE5.
So basically, it's the best-selling, quote unquote, critically and well-received game because 5 and 6 aren't well-received, are they?
5 and 6 were not well received at all.
Yeah.
No.
So basically, it's the best.
Remake 2 sold 5.8 million,
Oh, that's good.
which is
So-
a million ahead of the original Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
Sold a million
Very
copies between September 2019 and February.
Yeah.
And
It's
Monster
gonna-
Hunter World is still the best-selling Capcom game of all time.
Yeah.
Double. Double Resident Evil 5, which is the second best-selling.
What's Resident Evil 5 make?
So Resident Evil 5 is 7.6 million.
14 million.
Monster Hunter World is 14.9.
Oh. Oh, bloody hell.
Remake 2 is the sixth best-selling game in Capcom's history.
That's
Damn, they're killing it.
either way, I'm looking forward to 8.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
think-
it,
yeah,
without a doubt.
I think it's going to be creepy and scary, and I can't wait.
I hope it's in VR. I hope they build it for VR again.
I'd be surprised if there's in the VR element.
I
But
will.
but it'll probably be only either be exclusively to PlayStation
Yeah.
or, so.
Like, I have an Oculus. I got rid of my PSVR to get an Oculus because there were more PC VR games coming out. And what I've just realized is you can see the tracking dots. My webcam's picking out the tracking dots on the front of the Oculus. So that is actually black. Like, it's pure black on the front.
Yeah.
But because of the webcam pointing at it, you can see all the tracking dots lit up because it's plugged in.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. If they announced like a state of play in, I don't know, May, whatever, like, and it was like Resident Evil 8 coming to PS4, and it's going to be a PSVR exclusive, I'll go, fuck it, I will go out and buy myself a PSVR.
Well, I think this basically
Unquestioning.
says they will probably be at one of them at one of the events, either PlayStation or Xbox. Probably PlayStation
PlayStation.
because of their
They've always, like, Resident Evil
history
3
with them.
remake, Resident Evil 2
Yeah.
remake, Kitchen, Monster Hunter World, like Capcom. Just as far as Resident Evil goes, it's a PlayStation thing.
Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be So whenever PlayStation is gonna do their thing, which I'm still guessing is probably gonna be, might actually open, but probably will. It's probably May now than more than ever now because the Last of Us no longer there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The only thing they won't do is probably give the price and the release date because they're unsure.
September.
But they'll be ready to show games, and that's what everyone wants to see anyway.
Yeah. Do we want to talk BAFTA Game Awards winners?
Because
I don't know
it's
that
British and we're British, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know if there's that much that we haven't already talked about doing all of the other Game Awards.
I'm surprised by the best game winner because I actually thought that was going to be Untitled Goose Game just because that seemed like it was winning.
I don't think it was nominated at the BAFTA. So the BAFTA Game Awards winners: Outer Wilds won 3 games, won 3 awards: Best Game, Game Design, Original Property. I don't like because it's an original IP. I don't think you can win Best Game and not win Original Property. So like I think those two go hand in hand for Outer Wilds.
Best Game Design, and Original Property. If you can't, if you win,
you win in those.
Basically, win all of them. Yeah, if you win one of them, you're gonna win all.
Like, I didn't click with it, as I've talked about on this podcast. Like, it deeply upsets me that I didn't click with the game because like, it looks exactly my jam. It's just I can't control the spaceship very well. I watched the NoClip documentary about Outer Wilds, so like seeing it win an award for its game design, I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, I've seen how that game is designed and what it is designed to do, and I'm like, fucking hell yeah, cool, that's fine by me. Like 100%. Like, the game design behind that is insane. So like, congratulations to the studio that spent so long working on this game. This game's been around since like 2014.
Shout out to Disco Elysium. 3 wins for that.
Hell yeah. Disco Elysium, man. Such a good game. Oh my god. It won 3 awards: best debut game, best music, best narrative. Yeah, sure. The narrative, the writing in that game is like head and shoulders above anything else I've seen in games. Like the way it's written, the way it's writing even works.
Yeah.
Tremendous. It is one of my favorite RPGs, like, of all time.
And I think we kind of have to give this shout out as well. Best
we have to give the shout out.
Apex Legends.
Truly
Thank
deserved.
God for that.
Yeah. Vindication. Like, we jumped back into that game in February?
Yeah. How funny is it? Like, the award was 2 nights ago?
Yeah.
Last night they automatically get a thing up saying we won the best multiplayer.
Yeah, so yeah, we all got the pop up because we did the stream yesterday, and we all got the pop up where it was like BAFTA best multiplayer game, and it was like, all right, cool. But yeah, I'm just waiting for it. Although obviously because I'm time sensitive because I'm doing a podcast now, I'm just getting the spinny screen. There we go. 84 hours in that game. When we started replaying it in February, I had 21.
I would have to have a look at that.
Played it a lot.
Just to make that all the games. Congratulations to them. And
51 hours.
And to the performance awards as well. Lead actor Gonzalo Martin for Life is Strange 2. I really liked his performance in that season.
I didn't play
it was really, really good. And supporting role for Control, Marty
Suosala for Control. He was the janitor.
Congratulations to them all.
Well I also want to shout out Best Artistic Achievement for Sayonara Wild Hearts because it's about time someone recognized how amazing that art in that game is. Jesus Christ, have you seen Sayonara Wild Hearts? It looks ridiculously good.
I'll have to have a look at it.
It's so good. it's so good. I should have won Best Music, but I've said that literally every time. Like Game Awards, BAFTAs, DICE, like fucking Sayonara Wild Hearts soundtrack is ridiculous. And Luigi's Mansion 3 winning animation is another shout out I want to give because I've played it.
It's beautiful.
It's
the animation's
a beautifully animated game. Oh, and they had a Best British Game category, and Observation won that. Observation is a really cool game that I completely forgot about until I saw it on this list, and I was like, oh yeah, pretty sure that was in my top 30. I was like, yeah, that was good. That's a good game. You play as an AI on a space station, and you help.
Oh, nice.
There's like a disaster, and you have to like help the person who's like survived, like get around and stuff. It's a really cool game.
Awesome.
Best mobile game was Call of Duty Mobile. Couldn't you guess that was voted on by the public? Shocker.
That basically that just says the developers didn't want to vote on that.
Yeah. Nope, not doing it. No, no.
For the audience support. They're complaining that we're nominating and nominate winners that they wouldn't have played. They don't play or anything like that. So give us audience support.
Yeah, the BAFTA Game Awards are generally like more artistically driven than like the DICE Awards, which are more technically driven, or the Game Awards, which are like more of like a full package kind of thing. It's like this is more driven by art, which is how games like Outer Wilds and Disco Elysium can win like multiple awards. That's not me looking down my nose at like games like Call of Duty. Just it sticks out like a sore thumb on this list. On this list specifically. Let's move on to games out this week because there's not very many. Games out this week. Disaster Report 4 comes to PS4, PC, let me try that again. Games out this week. Disaster Report 4 comes out on PC, PS4 and Switch on April 7th. Also on April 7th, Below finally comes to PS4. And on April 10th, or I don't know, I guess last week for some people, Final Fantasy VII Remake comes to PS4. Below coming to PS4 is really interesting because they're releasing an update to all the versions of the game. Because when I played it when it came out, and I was like, it's beautiful, the art style is amazing, the atmosphere and the mood's fantastic, the gameplay is really good, but the survival mechanics just made the game like suck a little bit. And I was really gutted, but they're putting a mode in where they're taking all the survival mechanics out on April 7th, and I'm like, I really would like to play that game without survival mechanics, because I feel like that would be that's a game of the year contender potentially. Nice. So I might be streaming that a bit.
Cool.
Because I've been looking forward to that update since they announced it. And obviously Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know, I wasn't going to stream FF7 because it's a long game and I didn't want to like get bogged down doing long games. But at this point, in lockdown, with nothing better to do, I might just do it. Do it. Spend a week just playing Final Fantasy VII every day.
Gonna be a long week for streaming for you next week then, it sounds.
I don't know. We'll see. I keep saying I'm going to do all this stuff, but then it's always like, in the back of my head, I'm always like, I don't want to go overboard because... Then I get to a point. I could do this instead. I could do this, but once everything goes back to normal, I'm gonna have to go back to normal.
Yeah.
Unless I've got 100,000 subscribers on Twitch, then I'm like, well, I don't have to go back to normal because I'm making money. Whoa! Me, Mooney, and Keith finishing second in Apex. Whoa!
I'll finish second all the time for a little bit of the money.
Come see the carnival freaks who can't win a game of Apex but always finish second. Wow! I've put a video together for that, which I'm putting out on Wednesday. It's like a patch notes gameplay video. I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm putting a game together for it. And I've put some jokes in there and put some music in and maybe a picture of Moody's face at one point. Like it's all in good fun. It's 35 minutes long though. From a 3.5 hour stream.
We're gonna win!
I don't think at any point, because I watched all 6 matches back through, I don't think at any point we said, we're gonna win.
That's true, I guess true. All right, well, I think it was like one point we were like, come on, okay, we've got to stick together. We'll stick together. We'll do this. We'll do it. Oh shit, we're dead.
Yeah, there was one point where I said, "Can we just win?" I think it was like the third, fourth
Yeah.
match. I was like, "Can we just
We
win one,
just
please,
win one.
please, just one, just one." Oh, let's
And
play
like
guess.
the last one was, I think was funny, was like you said, you said something, wasn't it? You said something. Oh, what's this word? Oh no, yeah, you said okay. Let's go and have a second place finish again, guys.
Yeah.
Before the round it
Ha
all.
ha 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 ha! We did, we did. We
And you got
started
what
and
you
ended
wanted.
in the same way. Yeah.
That is true. That is true. You and me both got to a second place right at the beginning without Keith, and then we did nothing but second place.
Let's play games out this week, and then we can go. Nope. I'm looking. I didn't scroll down far enough. Let's play guess the score.
I was gonna say
Games
you
out
wanna
this
repeat
week.
yourself again.
Games out this week isn't a game. It's not. But guess the score is. Every single week, myself and Mr. Mooney, we take one game that's coming out over the course of the next 7 days, or like its review embargo is breaking over the course of the next 7 days, and we try to guess the OpenCritic average score of it. Whoever gets closest gets 1 point. If you guess the OpenCritic average spot on, you get 2 points. Last week, we were guessing the OpenCritic average of Resident Evil 3. I guessed it would get a 90. Mr. Mooney guessed it would get a 93. At the time of recording this podcast, Resident Evil 3 Remake sits at an 81 on OpenCritic. Too low. Too low. No. I've got this game in my fantasy gaming league. Too low. How dare you?
Oh, you're not like you're already winning by a lot of points.
I mean, I'm already miles ahead, but...
Like 60 points ahead, aren't you, or something?
Something like that, yeah. Because I got Persona 5 Royal, Half-Life Alyx, Dreams. Like, alright, cool. Got all the games.
I won't lie, like we were both severely off for the numbers for Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, we were both miles away.
But you were right. You did call it. It was going to probably... There were other things why I think the score is so low, but the main thing does seem like it's a multiplayer.
Fair enough. My two concerns with it were the multiplayer and the way Nemesis works. But potentially would have worked in the game, and it sounds like I might have hit some nails on some heads when we were talking about it. I'll find out, hopefully tomorrow, on a 7-hour stream. Literally, I'm going to sit in front of that post box till the post comes through. If that disc is in there, I'm run upstairs, be like Scott Pilgrim. I'm just sitting there. And then I'm going to run upstairs. I'm going to chuck the disc. I'm going to chuck the disc in the Xbox. I'm going to go for my walk. I'm going to come back. It's going to be finished in the stall, and I'm going to sit down, go live.
Spot on.
Like, that's what's happening tomorrow, if it comes tomorrow. That puts the current scores at Amy 5, Moody 5. I pulled it back. I was 2 behind 2 weeks ago. And now I'm back. I guess closest on Dreams, Warcraft 3, One Punch Man, Half-Life, and RE3. Moody, you guessed closest on Zombie Army 4, Ori, and Doom. You also guessed spot on for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. This week, Final Fantasy VII Remake. The reviews are going to drop before this podcast goes live.
Yeah, they drop tomorrow.
They dropped. The same thing happened with RE3. But what do you think that review average is going to be by this time next week?
It's going to be a fascinating one, obviously, because this is just one part of the game. It's just Midgard and everything. And going off with everyone who played the demo, like even yourself, you all really enjoyed it, to what I know.
I played it twice.
So she really enjoyed it, ladies and gentlemen.
No. I mean, I played it at EGX, and then I played the demo on PS4.
Yeah. Now I've looked on it. Like, there's no OpenCritic for the original game.
No, it was
I have
around
to go to
1997.
Yeah, I have to go to Metacritic, and Metacritic has it as a 92. Obviously, we don't use Metacritic here.
We don't.
Just going off that trick.
But because Final Fantasy VII only came out on one platform, it's functionally the same thing.
Yeah. So, will it get close to the same one? Will it be even equal, if not higher or lower?
Will it? Will it? That's the question we're trying to answer.
I want to say 90. I really do. But I'm not going to.
Say whatever you want.
I'm going to go 87.
Oof, 87.
I have this feeling. It's gonna
Sexual healing. Sexual healing. So, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like I said, I've played the opening level twice. On 2 different occasions. Loved it both times. But, and bear in mind, we're talking about, like, and I know I'm not alone in this opinion, like, in terms of, like, the wider gaming public, the original game is my favorite game of all time. It's one of my favorite games. It's on my top 15. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. So, not pressure on this game. I don't have high expectations, but hopes of unfortunately higher than they would be for a lot of other games. I love so much about what I've seen, like, of this game, like, pre-release. I haven't talked to anyone about the game who's played the game, because I'm just trying to go in as free as possible. There's a trailer that just came out, which is apparently super spoilery, and it's like, how can you spoil a game that came out in 1997? Well, you can, and I'm going to avoid that trailer. But I know nothing about the gameplay beyond the trailers and the demo, so there's one aspect of this game that concerns me. It's not the fact that it was split up. I think that's dumb, but, like, if FF7 Remake feels like a complete experience, then it'll be a wash either way, and then we just wait for the sequel. Like, the thing that worries me is they're taking a portion of the game that is essentially the prologue of FF7 and stretching it. Like, and I feel like they're trying to take, like, a 6-7 hour game, like, part of a game, and they're trying to stretch it into being a full JRPG. And I think they may try and stretch it too far. Like, because there's a flaw to the narrative of FF7, and it's paced. Like, there's a pacing to it, and that pacing is going to be screwed up by the fact that, like, they're trying to make this a 40-hour campaign. And all of this is preamble to me saying 83 is where I'm going. I think it's still going to be a great game. I think the gameplay that I've played is phenomenal. Like, the combat, the mixture of tactical and strategy and real time is incredible. I feel like the writing itself is going to be fantastic, and I've seen, like, some of the cutscenes from, like, the stuff, like, that looks so fucking good. This game looks amazing, but there's going to be a grind, and it's going to feel like it drags from time to time, because they've essentially taken 6 hours worth of Final Fantasy VII and gone, here's a full JRPG out of it. I don't think that's gonna work out too well, and I'd love to be proven wrong on that front.
Yeah,
like, if it comes out and it's got a 97, I'll be like, fucking fair play. Like, I always want the games to be better than I say they're gonna be.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're rooting for this game. We're rooting for all games. Like, you and me shot really high for Resident Evil 3 because we love Resident Evil games.
Yeah,
we were super over for it, and now 81 for Resident Evil 3 is still great. It's
still a really good game.
And I've played of it. I've loved what I've played so far. There are fundamental problems with the game. I don't deny that. Amy knows a little bit about what I've spoken to her about it, but I haven't gone into spoilers with her because I want to wait until she plays it. And then we who can have a proper full-on discussion about it. But yeah, I'm super happy with I'm disappointed that it didn't hit my 93, where I could have got 2 points.
Always.
I'm sure you're disappointed it didn't hit your 90, so you could have got 2 points.
If it had hit 93, you would have got 2 points, and I would have got more points on my fantasy gaming league. But that's
the thing about it. Yeah.
It's like, this isn't on my fantasy gaming league, but it's on Russell's. But the thing about, like, guessing the score, like, that's a snapshot of what I think the game, where I think the game sits. If it does better, that's awesome, because that means I get a better game.
Yeah.
If every game came out and it was amazing, I'd be in heaven. Heaven! Unfortunately, that's not the case, but we'll see. So, that's it. There's no more on this document.
83. I won't lie, I'm very surprised that both of us went 80s.
I was always going to, like, again though, like, I don't think
down before we start and everything.
I don't think we've discussed FF7 in any great detail before, so you didn't know what my anxieties about the game were.
Well, I have no true affiliation with it. I've never completed Final Fantasy VII before. I've played it and enjoyed it, but I've never clicked with it compared to what I have done with Final Fantasy IX. if this was the roles versus from Final Fantasy 9, I'll be like praying to God, please be like 97 or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's not. It's just Final Fantasy 7. But I respect what Final Fantasy 7 is dubbed for a lot of people the greatest RPG ever made, which is a testament to what it's done, and it's as it's getting remade, it's a testament what it's doing. So I'm rooting for this game. Don't have a PlayStation 4, so I won't be able to play it until the exclusivity drops next year.
Until you buy a PS4 for Last of Us,
or I buy a PlayStation 5 first and just get it done.
I think get it there. Yeah. That is going to do it though for episode 200. Still doesn't. I still haven't wrapped my head around the fact that we're into the 200s now.
200.
I want to gift that. So thank you very much for joining me, Moody, in this podcast and also on this journey. Like you've been kind of you've kind of been the left hand side of the screen for a couple of months now. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. And one day soon, I will actually update the Twitter handles that are on the video, so they actually include yours. Those need updating.
I won't lie.
Those need updating quite badly.
Oh no, it's always a pleasure being here. You and me have gotten to know each other very well more than ever since for the last back into 2019 and over 2020. It's been a pleasure. I've always loved talking about video games and everything, so I'm always happy to help out anytime.
Yeah. I invited you on a podcast, you invited me on a podcast, and then the rest is history.
This history really is, yeah.
And now we talk all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Even more since we both got locked in the house.
Yep.
That's going to do it. Thank you very much, Mooney. Thank you very much, everybody out there. Say bye.